Hey everybody, this is J-Man105 coming back at you with another hobby-related video, and today I'm going to show you essentials for doing wiring projects. This includes tools and some of the basic supplies that I use when I'm doing hobby wiring projects. There might be the odd tool or supply or two that's not pictured that you might end up using that I don't, or vice versa. I actually had some people in the Hobby Lounge ask me about this not too long ago, so here goes. And you can see I have a wide array of stuff sitting out on the table right now. And just before I get started, pay no attention to the RC cradle that just happens to be sitting on the desk. Now, I'm going to go into tools first. And one of the simplest tools that you can use when it comes to wiring is an X-Acto knife. Whether or not you have to cut little slits in the wire to strip it by hand, or if you need to do a quick cut on anything, on any of the rubber casing or plastic casing of the wire, you need an X-Acto knife. Good to have. Secondly, depending on what kind of wiring projects you're doing, if you're working with terminals or screw connectors or anything like that, you need to have a decent screwdriver. And in this case, this is an older screwdriver that has bits that can be swapped in and out. Now, you've all seen my pistol grip screwdriver, which I like to use, but when it comes to wiring, I tend to use this screwdriver and put the bits in there, or I'll go into my mini tools bin and use one of the small Phillips screwdrivers in there, or a slotted, as most electrical connections on sockets or terminals are either slotted or they are Phillips. A wire stripper. This comes in very handy. There are different kind of wire strippers out there. That are some that have the crescent shape where the wire goes in the middle. This is the one that clamps down and strips the wire to a certain extent that you have set up here. I find this one better because it does a very quick, precise job and you don't have to struggle with it. The weight of the wire stripper does the work for you. Diagonal cutters, also known as cutting pliers. These are good for snipping wire and snipping things around the wire. You don't necessarily have to have a big pair. I have several pairs. I have a red-handled pair that are older than these ones that are heavier. I also have a couple smaller, thinner pairs which I like to use, but the black-handled are my favorite. Needle nose pliers. You definitely need a set of needle nose pliers when you're doing wiring. If you're doing a quick crimp, or if you need to squeeze certain connectors, or if you need to fish a wire through something and need to grab it, that's your tool. Last but not least, a soldering iron. Now, I only use this when I'm doing more precise wiring. If I'm soldering it to terminals or soldering wire to itself using the homemade soldering stand, which you've seen in a previous video, I'm not big on using it for simpler projects. If I'm using either terminal connectors or twist connectors or whatnot, which I'll get into. Probably the other most important thing you're going to need when you're doing wiring projects is electrical tape. Why the hell not? If you don't have any, get some. It is available in colors if you need to color code things. I don't have any colored electrical tape at this time. I used to carry a blue roll and a white roll, but for now I just have a couple of the black rolls. Go with what's standard. In terms of the wire itself, I have a couple different colors of 18 gauge primary wire. I also have some brown 16 gauge wire. And I have some 24 gauge primary wire in a thin white roll. I used to have some 22 gauge here, but I believe I used it up. Depending on what you're wiring, your biggest gauges for hobby wire are going to be between 16 and 24. And even the 16 is not going to be as widely used as, say, an 18 or a 20 or a 22. So this is why I mainly have more 18 than anything else. Now, when you get into connectors for wires, let me go over the different connectors, including my most recent buy, which was from earlier today. I'm a big fan of these female and male quick connectors. So basically, you would connect the male side into the female side and it would form a quick connection bond. You can get them in 25 packs at Princess Auto. You can get them anywhere from 14 to 16 gauge wire and 22 to 18 gauge wire. Either or works. I prefer both sizes, and you can interchange them as well. That's why I have one size in female and one size in male depending on what I'm working on. Either way, if you go with a bigger gauge, they're not terrible. You can still squish them. The other type of connectors, and these ones I have for smaller gauge, so 18 to 22, these are the female and male connectors that have the plastic boot around them. So as you can see here, the smaller one would go inside the bigger one like that and form a connection. There are also the terminal connectors. So these are connectors you would use, again, various sizes, various gauges, if you're putting it on some kind of a connection present that has a terminal. So a light socket or a terminal block, you'd remove the screw and you'd screw these directly into the terminal that you're trying to attach and go from there. Model railroads, things like that, when I used to have my model railroad, I'd have these set up more often than not. Alligator clips, very handy. These are more temporary than anything else. I've used them for projects involving AC and DC connectors and things like that. You can use them for a lot of things. They are temporary. You have to be careful when you're using them because they are metal. You can get them coated with rubber or have the little rubber boots, but you will get zapped if you're not careful. Finally, we have our twist connectors. And right off the bat, people, they are not called Moretz. Mar is the primary brand that became famous for making twist connectors. The smaller versions of Mar connectors, the brand name is called Mar/Et. And then people just use that as Moret. They're not. They're not Moretz. They're twist connectors. Twist connectors, damn it. And they come in various shapes and sizes. That's all for today. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And for more hobby-related and DIY-related stuff, please join the Hobby Lounge on Discord. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Peace out.